Hi, this is John from Proper Coils, and today we're going to have a look at the Ursa Mini Pod Kit from Lostvape. So this is the Ursa Mini Pod Kit from Lostvape, and it's part of the Quest series. This is the mini version of the very popular Ursa Pod Kit. This was sent on to me by Daredevil over on Instagram. I'm going to stick his Instagram tag down the bottom left here. Make sure you go over and give him a follow. So, Lostvape Quest Ursa Mini Pod Kit. You have whatever version you have on the front here. On the side, we have 30 watt max device. It is a 1200 milliamp battery. UV light. It uses the UV light coils, which are decent, known as very decent coils. It has adjustable airflow. It is Type C fast charging, and it has smart coil detection, so it knows which type of coil, whether it's the mount lung or restricted direct lung coil you're using. On the back here, we have the contents, which is obviously the pod kit, one Type C charging cable, the user manual, the 0.4 UV light 1L coil, and the 1 ohm UV light L6 coil. So the 0.4 is obviously the restricted direct lung, and the 1 ohm is obviously the mount to lung. And you have the warranty cards, the usual warnings here on the back. And this side you have Lostvape Quest, the modern demarcation. Nothing on the ends here, so we'll open her up. So here you have your user manual. You have your warranty cards. We'll open up the accessory pouch, see what's in it. So in the accessory pouch you have your 2 coils, 1 mount lung, 1 restricted direct lung, and you have your Type C charging cable. So I have already pre-opened these because I was using the mount to lung coil already, so we'll just show you the 2 coils. We'll zoom them in. So this is the mount to lung coil, and it is a 1 ohm mesh coil, and it is rated best for 10 to 15 watts, and it is Canthal UV light L6. And on the bottom here, you can see your airflow holes on both sides. And then the other coil is your restricted direct lung coil, so you have a wider bore. Again, it's a mesh coil. Larger holes for wicking and larger airflow at the bottom. And it is best between 20 and 30 watts, and it's a Canthal mesh again. It has your minimum demarcation there for your e-liquid to make sure it doesn't go below that. And it's a UV light L1. So there's both coils. So we're going to have a look at the pod kit now itself. And we'll zoom out. So your pod kit is magnetic. The pod itself is magnetic at the top. We'll have a look at the pod first. So it's a press fit. It is magnetic. It has a rubber grommet on this side here, so that just pops off and you fill in that juice hole there. Make sure you have your pod in first before you fill it, obviously, otherwise it'll leak through the drip tip. It's a 3 ml capacity. The drip tip is not interchangeable for 510 or 810. It is a proprietary drip tip. So we'll pop in the restricted direct lung 0.4 coil. The one thing I will say is make sure that your airflow is facing the side of the gaps, and then just give it a press in, and that's it. So we'll fill this up and let her sit while we go through the device itself. So we're going to put some Nom Bongo Ice Black Edition. I will say that the fill hole isn't incredibly large, and there is no other hole for the air to escape, so you need to be careful you don't overdo it when you're filling it. So that should be her filled up. So we'll put that to one side and let her sit and absorb the liquid. Alright. So the device itself. Here's the device itself. So it comes in 8 different colors. I'm going to put those up on the screen now. And the body is made up of a zinc alloy, adjustable airflow, which I'll zoom in on. So you have adjustable airflow here, you have a large hole and then a graduated smaller holes to the right hand side. You can cut this down to one hole either side for mouth to lung. I have been using the mouth to lung for the last few days, and I will say that it is a decent mouth to lung vape, but if you're a person that likes a really tight mouth to lung vape, this is not the device for you. It doesn't cut it down tight enough for... It won't cut it down tight enough for some people who likes a really, really tight mouth to lung vape. But it is workable at a slightly loose mouth to lung vape. So it's probably going to suit most mouth to lung vapors. But for those of you again that like the really tight mouth to lung, it's not going to be your cup of tea. So you have branding here. So Lostvape is engraved lightly on this side, and Ursa Mini on this side. You have some sort of a design here, your sticker. It does come with different colored frames as you've seen. And on the bottom here, you have 3 battery vent holes, and you have your Type C charging port. I would have liked to seen this on the front. I don't like charging things from the bottom. It's not something you can stand up then, and it tends to get damaged quicker and just have more chance of dirt and stuff getting in there. So I'd rather have it at the bottom here. But anyway, that'll be one of the cons for sure. Otherwise, it's built very well. I think they look pretty good. Most of the colours, I've shown the 8 different colours, I think they look pretty good. And at the top here, you have your magnetic fitting, so your pod just pops in, and it's fairly stiff. It's not going to go anywhere. You can literally turn around. It doesn't matter which way it's facing, and it's going to work fine. To start this up, 5 clicks to start it up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Lostvape. It is a 30 watt max device, so it goes in 0.5 increments from 20 watts up to 30 watts, and anything below 20 watts is a 0.1 increment. So 0.5 increments up to 30. It will round robin to 5 watts, and then it's 0.1 increments after that. We'll set it at 20 for this coil. Everything else on the screen, so you have your battery indicator, you have your ohms, you have the timing of your puffs, and you have your puff counter. To lock the device, you hit the fire button and the up button together and hold them, and that's it, locked. That lets you still fire the device, but it locks the up and down. And same again to unlock it. So the only other option you have is to clear your puff counter. So to clear your puff counter, you just hit the fire button and the bottom button and hold that for 3 seconds. So that is it. There's nothing else. There's no voltage mode or temp control or any of that sort of thing. It's fairly basic. It's been aimed primarily at new vapors and people who are just obviously giving up smoking. So it's not going to be too complex in the menu system. So that's really it. So the designs is pretty good, and it's built pretty well in my opinion. Lostvape are always very good in that department. The things seem to be built very well, and they tend to make decent looking devices. So that's everything from top to bottom. We'll bring it back up top now, and I will give you my pros and cons of the Ursa Mini Pod Kit from Lostvape. So we're back up top with the Ursa Mini from Lostvape. So we're going to get into the pros and cons now. My first con will be the airflow could have been done a bit better. I think that the fact that you can't get one-sided mouth to lung setting, they should have really punched a hole in one side, a small hole, and left the other side the way it is. You could have dialed it down to one hole, and it would give you an option for a really tight mouth to lung vape. And I think if someone is coming from smoking to a device like this, which is probably where the device is aimed, giving someone that the option of a tight mouth to lung vape more similar to what they're used to, would have been a better option for those type of customers. Another con will be the USB Type-C charging on the bottom. I think it should have been on the front here. If you're charging it on the side, there's more chance it's going to get damaged. There's more chance there's going to get dirt and bits and bobs in there. So I think they should have had it at the front just for those reasons. The non-removable drip tip, I think, is a con, especially for the people, again, it's aimed at. I think a lot of people who do mouth-along vaping like their own drip tips, their own 510 drip tips, and this doesn't give you that option. Pros wise, it's a good looking device, and you've got lots of color options. It gives you 8 color options and 8 different looks, which I think is good. It's built well, like most Lostvape products, and the menu system for someone that's new to vaping is going to be fairly simple to get used to. It's only wattage mode, so you're not going to get overwhelmed with different options, and I think that's definitely a good thing in a device like this. Other than that, it's good that it gives you 2 options. It gives you a mouth-along option and it gives you a direct lung option. So again, someone new to vaping, you can experiment whether you want to go the direct lung option or restricted direct lung option or the mouth-along option. So it gives you, it's a bit of flexibility, which is good. It's not solely a mouth-along device and it's not solely a direct lung device. It could have done the mouth-along slightly better. It does the restricted lung very well. The coils are the vape and the flavor from both the coils, from the mouth-along and the restricted direct lung, is very good. That is the device wide open on both sides, obviously, and then that is 30 watts with the 0.4 restricted direct lung coil. Very good flavor, works very well, and perfect amount of airflow when it's wide open. For someone that's more used to vaping and has been vaping a while and has used these systems before, I don't think it's the best in the market. I think this is more for someone that's new to vaping, wants some options, and wants a fairly simple, stealthy, small device. It's very pocketable. It's a nice little size. It's you can fit it in your front pocket and no one's going to notice it, and you're not going to notice it. It's not heavy. Yeah, I think that's it. Look, if you're new to vaping and you want something simple and works well and gives you some options, I think this is a good option to go with. So that was the review of the Ursa Mini from Lostvape. If you like what you see, you like the reviews, and maybe you're into coil building, make sure you give the channel a follow, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. If you're looking for any handmade coils, make sure you head over to propercoils.com. And I hope you enjoyed the review, and thanks very much for watching. I'll see you next time.